Hello everyone, this is Nathan Gamer Place and welcome in today's video where we'll be talking about non-VTubing and VTubing. So, is it worth it to be a VTuber or a non-VTuber in 2022? Well, guess what? I have made this video to basically share my opinion about both the advantages and disadvantages about being a VTuber and a non-VTuber, and hopefully I hope you'll like this video and also educate you about the two. So, without further ado, let's talk about what is a VTuber. So a VTuber basically is where you have a model just like the one that you're seeing on screen, whether if it's a 3D model, a 2D, or even a PNG model. And basically the whole point of being a VTuber is that any facial expressions that you do basically gets detected by your webcam and it goes through a software, and then the software basically matches the expression with the VTuber. So you might say, oh wow, VTuber is so amazing and it's so accurate and awesome. Should I just go away and start being a VTuber? Well, hold it right there. There are ups and downs for both of these things, and that is why I'm going to discuss about both of them. So let's start with the advantages of not being a VTuber, which means a face cam. So the advantages of being a facecam VTuber is you'll have better reactions. So the thing about having a facecam on when you're streaming or recording is that most likely a lot of people would take more interest in your content based on the reactions. With that said, of course, reactions is not everything when it comes to content creation, but it does help out to make the content more interesting and potentially catching more people's interest. So better reactions with facecam instead of being a VTuber does help out in their favor to attract people out there that might be looking for reactions. And another advantage that I will be mentioning is also being a non-VTuber, you can literally get away with not talking with facecam, which means that if you're going to have a face on YouTube or whether if it's a live stream, you can actually get away with not talking for the most part. With that said, not talking is not really going to help out in any case scenario because people want to hear your voice, they want to hear your opinion, your experience, and all that stuff. So being a non-VTuber, you can in a way you can benefit of actually getting away with content without talking, but it's not really ideal. But yes, being a non-VTuber, they do have that slight bit more advantage than being a VTuber in that scenario, which in my personal opinion, I would never recommend anyone not talk when you're recording or live streaming because people want to hear your opinion, your experience. So it's always engaging that the more you talk and the more you engage with whether you're live streaming or even recording, it's always best to talk as much as you can because that's what really catches people interesting. Another advantage is that it has more options for creative content, which means that when you have a face cam on YouTube or live stream or whatever the case, it does give you more potential content idea creation, such as, for example, people like to do vlogs. Some people like to do unboxing videos. Unfortunately, when you're a VTuber, these kind of content creations cannot be done as a VTuber unless you want to show your face. So there are some contents which unfortunately only people with face cam would do because, you know, otherwise, if you're gonna show your face and you're not comfortable doing it as a VTuber, basically, it's not gonna be good. Also, as last advantage of being a non-VTuber is much easier to glow on Now, with that said, just to make it clear, in any case scenario, don't get the idea of like, hey, I'm not gonna be a VTubers will never be popular, it's always best to put a camera to grow faster. It's never the case, because both of those things need to, but whether you be like a VTuber or a non-VTuber, effort is still yet to be made, because if you think you're going to be successful in days just because you have a face cam, you are definitely wrong. It may be the case that maybe being a VTuber can be a much more longer and challenging side, but to be honest, they all have their ups and downs. So the reason I mentioned this as a slighter advantage, because there was a case, and I also tweeted about this just to get feedback from people out there. It might be the norm that it might be the case that there's a lot of people out there that prefer people with face cams rather than VTubers, and they might connect with them more. But that doesn't mean that there aren't people out there that do not connect with VTubers. It's just, it may be the case that the norm, or at least the more the majority of people actually like to connect with people with face cams. In fact, that is why I tweeted on Twitter and asked all the people around the world and said, what kind of streamers do you like to watch the most? And as much as people voted for like what do they think, there was the VTubers, face cam, and 50-50 option, which means it doesn't really matter if it's VTuber or not. And a lot of people did vote majority for the face cam streamers, and it's just good to say that at least the majority of the people in my case of the tweet, they voted also for 50-50, which means there are a lot of people out there that really don't matter if you're a VTuber or not. It really doesn't affect them. But of course, in this scenario, you can see that the facecam streamers got the most votes in this poll, which that brings an idea that majority of the people like facecam streamer, and it could be also a scenario where a lot of people have still yet no idea about the VTubing content and community out there, and they're still probably learning about what VTubing is, because you have to understand that basically VTubing was introduced in 2010, while facecam was actually a thing in 2000. So that means 10 years later, VTubing became a thing, so that means that there's still people out there that are still not familiar with the whole VTubing thing, so that means that people are still learning and still getting used to the VTubing content, which is totally fine, because, again, it took a while before VTubing became a thing. But, even if this is the case that people voted that majority of the people actually like facecam streamers, it doesn't mean that there's no people out there that wouldn't enjoy watching VTubers. It's just that the majority of people might prefer facecam streamers rather than VTubers. But do not discourage you, because I still yet to talk about more at the end of the video when I conclude all of this discussion. Now, here is where it comes the disadvantages of being a non-VTuber. The disadvantages of being a non-VTuber is you need a really good camera, or you can start off with a very low budget camera. This is usually how people started off, usually because they don't have much money to spend on high-end cameras. So usually you can start off with a good camera, but if you're going to upgrade your quality of your face, you of course need to invest into a high quality camera. Now, with the problem is it will be very expensive. So when you're being a facecam streamer or content creator, in this case in general, it can be very expensive to upgrade your gear, when basically as VTuber you don't need a high-end camera, because practically your face is not going to be shown, but the model is. Like, for example, here in this video, you're literally seeing my model, and my model is not pixelated. Like, I'm using a medium-end camera. Like, it's a budget-friendly camera. It's not really expensive. And as you can see here, my VTuber model looks great. It doesn't look pixelated, and it's adorable. So, look. Look at this cute VTuber. Look at me. I'm a sexy man. Yeah, there you go. Basically, you don't need a high-end camera for VTubers. Well, a non-VTuber, they would need an expensive camera if you want your quality of your reactions to be clear and much more better looking when you're recording. You do need a high quality camera. Once started with like a low resolution camera, and then when they get the money, maybe they'll upgrade to a better camera. It's basically pretty normal that these things happen. You got to start from somewhere, right? You can't start with a very expensive camera and that's how you start your content. Everyone started from something, so always keep that in mind as well. And also another disadvantage is that it might slightly feel less comfortable sometimes, which in the sense is there might be times where people might not feel comfortable showing their face on camera because maybe, I don't know, maybe they had a bad day, or maybe they feel, I don't know, low confident about showing themselves on camera. And usually what they do is that they just leave the screen blank. So there's no reaction whatsoever. There's just, you just talking, which is great. And at the same time, it is good to not force yourself to show yourself on camera when you don't feel like it. But when you leave the screen empty with no reactions, it might actually not really bring in people to basically it might be a bit more difficult for people to engage with you without a form of reaction. And basically that is what VTubing is. It's an alternative to at least use the camera in a way of keeping your identity private and basically provide a form of reaction. So that way people will still be entertained with getting some form of reaction. So that is the problem with being a non-VTuber, is that sometimes it can be slightly uncomfortable. So not every time you're gonna have those moments where you're gonna show your face, because you might want to do a faceless stream. And at that moment, you might as well just go for a temporary VTuber or model or something, or even a PNG VTuber. So at least you show them a form of reaction, right? Which does usually help out. And another disadvantage of being a non-VTuber is usually people, what they do to enhance quality of imagery of your face is they would have to buy additional hardware for non-VTubers, while VTubers don't have to invest in these kind of hardware. For example, to give you a great idea, is ring lights. Ring lights is one thing that a lot of people buy when they are doing face cam, because when you have light reflecting upon you, it helps the camera to basically detect your image, your face in this case, much easier, and get a much better image quality, so that your face will actually look better. That's why people usually buy ring lights, is to help them. But again, what is the problem with that? Why is that a disadvantage? Again, that's more money. So you're spending more money on equipment. Well, basically, this is the thing about being a face cam. If you want to enhance your quality of your face, you would have to invest into these kind of gear to usually get the best quality of your face. It all comes down to the advantage of being a VTuber. So what are the advantages of being a VTuber? The first advantage is endless ideas of creativity, which means that when you want to basically improve your video content in the future, you can basically commission all sorts of talented individuals to basically make you a custom VTuber model. And the good thing about that is that you have endless creativity ideas of what kind of model you can do. It can be based off a favorite video game like Genshin Impact, Kingdom Hearts, or any other games that you like. And basically you can have any endless ideas of what kind of character do you want to have as a VTuber basically content creator. And there's a lot of ideas of what kind of characters you want. So originality, you can have thousands of ideas, and it always helps you to get something as an original idea for yourself. So that's the really awesome thing about VTubers, that there's endless of creativity ideas that you can basically have when it comes to being a VTuber, because you can make all sorts of characters. You can be literally anything. So that's the really awesome thing about being a VTuber, is that you can base off your character based on anything that you like. And that's the really awesome thing of a VTuber. And then the second advantage of being a VTuber is that it's perfect for people like myself that basically struggle with anxiety and want to show a form of reaction. So there are people out there that really don't feel comfortable of showing their face, or they just want to keep their identity private. Again, it's basically, that's how a lot of people are comfortable, which you have to respect that people's privacy and decisions. And basically that's the advantage of being a VTuber, is that you get to show a form of reaction without having to show your actual face. Because if you feel like if that's gonna be the most source of comfortability for you, and that's how you want to show a form of reaction, then VTubing is the best choice for you, because you're not showing your entire face, but you're just showing your reactions on the VTuber model, and it's pretty awesome. Number 3 advantage of being a VTuber: protects your identity and basically face. This is basically what I mentioned before. So if you feel more comfortable keeping your identity private, if that's what makes you comfortable when you're doing content, then VTubing is the perfect choice for you. And also, the final advantage of being a VTuber is there are free ones to start with. So basically, there's a lot of free VTubing models out there. Like, for example, you can go to Vroid Hub and you can search for free ones, and you take a look from there which ones you can use. And of course, you can either start off being a PNG VTuber, because you can literally grab art and you can animate them, and technically that falls into the category of a PNG VTuber. Is much more budget friendly of a VTuber, and it's much less intensive on your rig, because you have to consider that if you're gonna have a VTuber model, you also need to have a high-end rig, because if you're gonna do gaming and you want to show your rig, it's gonna take a lot of resources from your PC or whatever device you have in this case. So PNG VTuber is much more less heavy on your machine. So it's really, really good to also consider whether you want a free one VTuber, which is a 3D or a 2D, or you can go with PNG VTuber, which is much more less heavier, and again, it's free. So there you go. And of course, this is where I discuss about the disadvantages of being a VTuber. And the disadvantages of being a VTuber, the first disadvantage is much more harder to grow on platforms due to much longer time for people to connect with you, which in that case, what it means is that maybe for some people, like, it doesn't matter whether you be a VTuber or not. It really depends on the audiences, and it does sometimes take a scenario where it takes longer to connect with people, but it doesn't mean that you won't find people out there, because there are people who like VTubers and there are people who connect. It's just maybe it could be more time consuming than basically being a non-VTuber. And especially VTuber has becoming a much more popular thing now, because nowadays, back in the days, we have to consider that basically a facecam streaming began with the first facecam was introduced into 2000, and the VTubing started in 2010, when basically Ami Yamato was the first virtual YouTuber who started in May 18, 2011. And basically, this content creator started showing off what a VTuber actually is, and that's where people got familiar with the VTuber whole thing. And basically that's how VTubers started slowly getting popular over the years. And then of course more people started to know about VTuber and all that stuff. So slowly VTuber has become more and more popular over the course of years, when more people starting to get used to this whole VTubing setup, and also just content creation in general. Now, the disadvantage of being a VTuber, the second disadvantage, is getting a custom VTuber model can be super expensive. So if you're looking to get a custom VTuber model and you want to, like, let's say you want a particular VTuber model because you think people will like based on whatever ideas you came up with, and you like the idea and you want to be original, because at the end of the day, it's good to have something original, because you have to find a way to stand out from the crowd. You have to sell yourself and show the people what are you all about. And you decided to go with the idea of getting a custom VTuber model. With that said, there's a lot of money involved into making this, and also it is not easy to get a custom VTuber at the same time. So it is, the disadvantage is that VTuber models are quite expensive to actually get, and not many people, and some people might actually get discouraged of the fact because of this. Because a lot of people are like, hey, I have to spend so much money on making VTuber models to basically get a remotely chance of getting people, which is not the case. Like, I basically been streaming on Twitch and uploading content on YouTube for 2.5 years, and I still, like, okay, I might say that I'm growing much slower than other people, but it doesn't really matter, because at the same time, I'm still growing, I'm still having fun, I'm doing something that I like to do. I'm not pressuring myself to show my face on camera to do content. So I'm doing something that I'm 100% liking. So the good thing about this is that I basically am starting with the free VTuber models, and basically that's how I started, and started to grow slowly. And the most important thing is that I'm having fun with being a VTuber, and it's the most comfortable thing for me, while at the same time providing a form of reaction. So at the same time, you don't need a super expensive, but if you do want to upgrade in the future, it might be a good idea to get it, or like to get an original custom made, but do keep in mind it's very expensive. But do not be discouraged because of this. There's a lot of other options being a VTuber. You can start with the free ones or the PNG VTuber, and you go on from there. The last disadvantage of being a VTuber, keep in mind that these are my personal opinions. It doesn't mean that they're right, but do let me know in the comments what you think, because maybe there's something that I missed out. Maybe there's something which I discussed wrong about, or maybe there's something which I would have improved. Please let me know in the comments, because I love to learn all about non-VTubing and VTubing. So do let me know in the comments if there's something I missed or something which I needed to improve. The fourth disadvantage of being a VTuber is that you need a high-end rig to run a VTuber model. Now, in this case, it depends on things. It depends whether you're using a PNG VTuber or a 3D or a 2D VTuber. Using a 3D VTuber, there's much more allocated resources towards the VTuber, because the CPU is going to have to work harder, the GPU has to work harder, because you're seeing the art style of the VTuber model. So when you're running a VTuber model while you're playing a game, it does get a little bit intensive on your rig. So you do need a high-end rig for sure if you're going to use a VTuber model. If you're going to use a PNG VTuber, that's a different story. But if you're going on with like my VTuber model, for example, which in my case, pretty sure mine is a 2D, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, you do need a high-end rig for sure, because especially if you have a lot of things going in the background, including the game and many other applications. So having a high-end rig for VTubing is ideal, unless you're going with a PNG VTuber, because there's not much to basically render by your machine. And also, to conclude, the question that a lot of people have been asking, which is the better choice to basically go with to grow on platform? Would it be better off you choosing to be a VTuber or a non-VTuber? And the question is, to be fair, they all have their ups and downs, so there's no best option to choose. The best option would always be what fits you and what you enjoy the most. So even if they all have their advantages and disadvantages, so in reality, they all have their ups and downs. So the real question is, which one is the best to go with if you want to grow? It all depends on what you want to go with, which makes you comfortable and which you enjoy the most. As long as you're enjoying with the decision that you've chosen, that's the most important thing, because it's pretty irrelevant to choose something which you're not going to enjoy and you're still going to change in maybe a few years time. So always go with the option that makes you comfortable and you enjoy the most. Keep that in mind, because there's no better option. Like a lot of people might say, it's better to grow as a Facecam streamer or content creator, or better to be a VTuber. They all have their ups and downs, and it all comes down to what you want to do. That's and as long as you're having fun, you will grow depending on the effort and passion that you show on your content. So always keep that in mind when you're choosing what option to go with. And for example, to also conclude with this whole thing, VTuber actually became even more popular. For example, when big streamers actually started talking about VTubing, a lot more people are starting to know what VTuber is, and VTuber does deserve recognition, just like, you know, Facecam content creators deserve recognition. So it's very important that people are talking about VTubing, because again, there's still a lot of people who don't know how much work and effort is involved into basically becoming a VTuber. It's not just you know, getting a free model, or basically you want to choose a PNG image and then there you go, you're all set for VTuber. There's a lot of things involved, including the softwares that you have to use, setting them up, and basically yeah, there's a lot of softwares and stuff involved into basically becoming a VTuber, just like how there's a lot of stuff involved into doing content with Facecam. There's a lot of stuff involved with VTuber. Maybe there's a little bit more stuff involved into becoming a VTuber, because there's more complexity. But at the end of the day, you'll have to keep in mind that they all have their ups and downs. So, like I said before, just go with whatever fits you the most. And as long as you're having fun and putting your passion towards whatever you're doing, trust me, given enough time, you'll start growing and you'll be surprised how long you came. Like, I always been the kind of VTuber who was discouraged, but I got very surprised on how much I improved and how much I grew over these 2.5 years of content creation. So do not give up. Believe in yourself. Keep going. You got this. Don't forget about the ratio and all that stuff. Trust me, the ratio is not important. As long as you go with the option that basically is the most comfortable option for you, and basically it is helping you to be happy and just enjoy doing what you're doing, the right people will basically find you when given enough time, and hopefully they will actually take an interest and basically join your community. So given enough time, have fun, don't worry about the ratio, and just keep being yourself, and then people will show up. So guys, thank you for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this awesome video about the discussion of 2022 non-VTubing and VTubing. I hope you guys find this video educational and fun to watch. If you guys did enjoy this video, please leave a like and subscribe. And also, a percentage of you are subbed to my channel, so I do appreciate you if you do consider to hit the sub button. It really helps me out a lot. If I did miss any pointers or there are some things which you guys did not understand, please make sure to leave any comments in the comment section. I would love to answer any questions, and I hope this gives you a motivation to keep going. Choose whatever you want to choose. Don't worry about the ratios. Keep doing what you love doing, and as long as you're having fun and showing your passion towards things, don't worry, people will find you, and hopefully more people will connect with you. To be fair, people will connect with you as long as they see that you're having fun and basically just putting all your effort that you can in your content creation. So good luck, have a good one, take care, and thank you guys for watching this video. Bye bye everyone, have a good one, and content create away. Let's go.